viewer on demand. And I am happy to hand over to the LCR Careers Hub lead, Jill Walsh. Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie Ann. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to National Apprenticeship Week, day 2 today. So really great to have lots of students on this morning. And today we're going to be talking about the housing sector, and we've got 2 of our cornerstone employers. So these are 2 of our employers that work really closely with us across all Liverpool City regions, supporting our schools and colleges. So it's a great welcome to the Regenda Group and Sovini Group this morning. And we've got Danielle and Christina who are going to talk through the presentation. And they've also brought along some of their apprentices as well this morning. So it would be great for any students who want to ask any questions, anything at all, then please pop them in the chat and we'll make sure that we get those answered for you this morning. So without further ado, Danielle, Christina, over to you.
Thank you.
Morning.
Morning, everybody. So Christina and I are here to talk to you about what it says on the screen, a career that will change lives. Very conscious that everybody that's been mentioned as part of this week is quite amazing. You've got the likes of Jaguar, etc. And then me and Christina rock up to talk to you about housing. But I'm hoping that by the end of today, what we have to tell you will really excite you and make you consider a career in housing. So moving on, myself and Christina are just going to talk to you about what that looks like. So I am from the Regenda Group, and the Regenda Group is primarily a social housing organisation made up of care and support, housing and construction, education, training and careers. And what that means is that we primarily deal with social housing, which are houses for people that need them, so houses for people of need, and we primarily deliver services around that. But then we also have lots of other businesses that sit within our group, such as construction, development. We have a nursery, we have different training schools as well, and we do lots of different things to try and enhance the lives of the people that live within our communities. So what it says on there is that we regenerate places and create opportunities for people, and we work in lots of places across the Northwest where we can really make a difference to the people that live within those communities. So we work with people in schools, we work with people right from birth right up, and provide lots of different services for them. So I've had a career in housing for 15 years now, so I'm showing my age, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But in regards to the group, we've got 700 employees and we manage 13,000 properties all across the Northwest, from Fleetwood to Oldham to Rochdale to St Helens. We have stock all across those areas, so we cover quite a big spread, which makes our jobs really diverse and interesting because we meet lots of different people every day. And like I said, our chief exec, so our big boss, is always branching out and wanting to look at different things and doing the best that he can to help support people within our communities. So as it says there, we operate across housing, construction, care support, education, training and careers, and we work very similar to the Sovini Group. So I'll hand over to Christina now to tell you a bit about that.
Yeah, good morning everyone. I'm Christina Forshaw and I'm the Learning and Development Manager at the Sovini Group. Quite similar to the Regenda Group, we have, all set up from the Sovini Group, we've got 9 companies within the group, and 2 of them are our social housing companies, and that's called One Vision Housing and Pines Court Housing Association. Similar again to the Regenda Group, we make social housing affordable for the local communities. We've got 13,000 properties across the Northwest also. And yeah, I suppose my career in housing, working for the Sovini Group, it's a lot shorter than yours, Danielle. I've only been in it for 4 years, but when we go further into the presentation, we've got very different backgrounds, yet we've both come into the social housing sector. And I suppose kind of you on the call today, we want to get across that, from all different backgrounds, from all different routes, as you go through your career, you can have that access into different roles within the housing sector. Yeah, I suppose that's it really. I know I don't want to kind of repeat everything, but as a group, we work really closely with local schools. We get involved in all things like this because one of the big things at the Sovini Group are our apprenticeships, and that's why we wanted to come on today to talk about different apprenticeships that can get you into the housing sector. So that's it from me.
Okay, so if we move on to the next slide, we'll just talk to you a little bit about what social housing actually is, because it's probably a bit of jargon that, so we'll just talk you through that. So Sovini and Regenda are both not-for-profit organisations that own, let and manage rented housing. So what that means is that, like Christina said, we provide opportunities for people that need it at the time of need. So on this slide there, it just talks a bit about what we do. So we do provide affordable, secure housing options for people across the country, but as well as providing the house, we provide a home. So what that means is that we provide services for people, whatever they need. So we can provide financial support, we can provide care support, we can provide lots of different options for people from every walk of life, from every single background, to make sure that they have somewhere that they can call a home. And that's what's really important to me in regards to a career in housing. It's helping people that need it and really feeling like at the end of the day you've made a difference to someone's life. And that's what brought me into a career in social housing, really. And it's so diverse because we can be helping people, be helping children, adults, lots of different people throughout their walks of life. We deal with lots of different aspects of that. So we deal with crime and social behaviour, right through to regeneration of communities. So that might mean that we put things into our estates like new parks, new recreation areas and things like that to really improve what our communities look like and the experiences that they have, and help them to grow and flourish in better communities in the future. Christina, is there anything else you want to add about social housing?
No, I think you've covered it all there, Danielle. When I was thinking when you were talking, I was like, yeah, I've covered it.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. So moving on then to our next slide before we let you talk to our apprentices. This slide really is just to talk about who we are, because we wanted to put this in to kind of tell you how we've ended up speaking to you today. So we'll start with me, because some of the pictures down there, well, all of the pictures down there are mine. And the reason why I wanted to put these pictures in is to kind of tell you about my journey in housing. So if you come into a career in housing, you often end up in housing by mistake, because it just happens that you gravitate towards wanting to help people and make a difference to people's lives. The reason why Christina and I are here today is because we want to change that. We really want housing to be a career, an aspirational career, and one that you want to go into, because it can offer so many different opportunities. So I started out as the little girl on the left, and I look not at all like that now because I'm 36, but that was me. I went to university in Chester and I studied a degree in sociology and religion and cultural studies. And then after that, I went travelling. So I went to Africa travelling, and I worked in a school in Africa for 2 months. And that really kind of gave me a passion to want to help people that were less privileged than myself, give people opportunities to be able to really reach their full potential and live a fuller and a better life. And housing is the place to be able to really do that and really support people. So I've got a love for travel. And when I was in my first housing association, which was Salix Homes, which is where I started my career in housing, they sponsored me to be able to go and travel and do the Africa trip, which was absolutely amazing. Such a fantastic example of how housing can really help you as a person to develop and grow and find your own passions as well. I started at Regenda nearly 10 years ago now, and I started out as a frontline housing officer. So I joined as an antisocial behaviour officer. And I did my CIH level 3, which is a Chartered Institute of Housing, which you can do as an apprenticeship. So I did that in level 3. And I then progressed into different roles. So I moved to be a team leader within a community over in Oldham. And then I took a step into HR, because I realised whilst I loved helping people within our properties, I also wanted to help our staff to deliver even better services and be able to help people even more by having lots of skills and lots of experience and lots of training around being able to support people in a better and more holistic way. So providing lots of different opportunities for staff. So that's how I ended up in the role that I am now, which is the head of learning and development for the group. And that's my team there. We're all dressed up quite fancy there because we went to an awards ceremony in London for a project that we all worked on, which was great. And then the final picture is just me and my family, because again, we love to travel, but we also love to go to little festivals as well. So that's me, my husband and my 2 boys. So that's my story. And right now, to further my own career and my own education, because that's really important, I'm doing a master's in human resources. So that's something that I'm developing myself. So I'm constantly learning. And that's my journey. So I'll move over to Christina now.
Yeah, morning everyone. So I haven't given you the joy of photographs of me on this presentation. But yeah, I had a very, very different kind of background to Danielle. I didn't take the apprenticeship route. I didn't really know of apprenticeships when I was back at school because it was just something that was not heavily advertised back then. So I did your typical kind of sixth form, and I went to John Moores University, and I actually got my degree in Spanish. And I lived in Spain, and straight from that I then actually became a secondary school teacher of modern foreign languages, and that was my career for 5 years. At this point I'd never even heard of the housing sector. It's not something I was familiar with at all. I then had a career change, and that's when I started to work for more corporate organisations, and that's where I got into learning and development, and that's when I ended up at the Sovini Group. And it was only working for corporate services at the Sovini Group that then I kind of got enlightened to what the housing sector is. And one of the reasons, you know, I love working at the group is because we believe in, you know, creating opportunity and changing lives, and those roles within our housing organisations do exactly that. As I mentioned before, we've got 9 companies within the group. A large majority of our employees are from our social housing companies, One Vision Housing and Pine Court, and that's exactly what they do. And I think what was interesting for me, and I've been really honest, you know, I didn't know what the housing sector was. It was only when I started working with the group 4 years ago. It's the amount of different roles, and it's the career progression that those roles can bring. Danielle mentioned before, you know, she's doing a master's. She started off with her CIH level 3. Your Chartered Institute of Housing qualification ranges from, you know, starting at level 2, and we've got one of our apprentices who has just completed her apprenticeship at level 2, and you can work through those different roles. And I think that's what's really, really good. As Danielle mentioned before, a lot of people kind of fall into this by accident because there's a role going. But what people don't realise is the career progression that is on offer in the housing organisation. And one of the biggest things that I think employees, especially myself, who work in that sort of area, is the job satisfaction. Knowing that you are making a difference is absolutely, you know, it's fantastic. So yeah, a little bit about me.
So I guess just to summarise then, a career in housing is a great place for anyone to start. As Christina said, you can start at level 2 and work your way right up to level 7 like me, which is what I'm doing now. And there's lots of different options out there. A career in housing offers progression, rewards, and brilliant people, if we do say so ourselves. But we'll let you meet at some of our apprentices to find out a bit more on that shortly. The skills that you'll learn as part of your career in housing can transfer across to any other role. So, you know, it's a great place to start and progress your career and move into lots of different areas. You'll learn how people live and the differences in people. You'll appreciate the diversity. You'll learn about communities and how they form and how we can help people and improve their lives. Communication's a big one, and that's a massive skill that you'll need all throughout your lives. Everyone's willing to help in housing, and you'll always be learning. So really, what more could you want from a career? It's definitely the place to be. So if we move on now, we'll stop talking. I'm sure you'll be glad, and we'll let you meet some of our apprentices if that's okay. So with us on the call today, we've got Lauren, Tracy, Jamie Lee and Susie. So is it helpful if we kind of go through each apprentice and let them introduce themselves, if that's okay with everybody? So we'll start with Lauren, where she's got a lovely picture up there on the top left, and I think she's just come on the screen now.
Morning everyone, I hope you're all doing okay. I'm Lauren Bundu and I'm a People Learning Assistant at the Regenda Group, so I work in the same team as Danielle. So I thought I'd kind of just tell you about my sort of career journey so far through an apprenticeship. So I started my apprenticeship a little bit late, so I just come out of university with a degree in sociology, but I was quite unsure about what I wanted to do. I spoke to a couple of career advisors, and they basically said, why didn't you try a career in HR, learning development or housing, just because it's probably quite tailored to some of the stuff that I did study whilst I was in university. So kind of went on my little job search and looked at what sort of HR roles there were out there, but everywhere you kind of needed to have experience. So it wasn't until I was actually speaking to my friend who'd actually done her apprenticeship, and she talked about how great it was and how much she'd learned. So from that, I kind of went on, tried to look for an apprenticeship potentially in housing or in HR, and luckily I was successfully appointed to the Regenda Group and the People and Learning team. So I absolutely loved doing the apprenticeship, to be honest. It was really great because it gave me the opportunity to be exposed to different work environments. Not only was I able to gain a qualification in business admin, but I was able to like learn skills while I was also progressing my career. So I had quite a lot of exposure whilst I was working in a team. I was able to attend different meetings, events, kind of absorb that culture of a housing association, which I hadn't had much exposure to before, and also able to learn about human resources and learning development, which obviously I'm very interested in now. I just kind of want to highlight that housing is such a brilliant sector to work in. There's so much diversity and variety of different roles, kind of what Danielle touched upon. It's a great place to work if you're passionate about helping people, because you know that every day, no matter what role you're doing in a housing association or a housing sector, that you're actually going to have a social impact and help change people's lives. So it's quite rewarding in that way. Also from doing an apprenticeship, it was great because I had such a supportive team, and I think that's really great, is that if you go to an employer, they're happy to invest in you. They want to develop you, put you forward on different projects, events and stuff, so that can help you boost your confidence and really develop yourself professionally. And also I had a really great assessor at the time. She was really, really supportive and helped me through my qualification, which was obviously invaluable to me at the time because I was working whilst doing a qualification, which just sounds a lot easier at first, but it's actually really, really good way of kind of upskilling yourself whilst also learning stuff on the job as well. But yeah, that's pretty much me. Now 3 years on, I've been promoted into an assistant role, and I'm due to start my CIPD qualification, which is a HR qualification specifically in learning development, so quite similar to what Danielle does. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me and my journey so far.
Thank you, Lauren. Should we move on to Susie next? So Susie's one of our most recent apprentices, actually. She's very recently joined the group, and she's doing quite a dynamic apprenticeship and the first one of its kind at Regenda. So Susie, I'll let you tell everybody a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a digital content apprentice, so that kind of means I do anything kind of design based. So I work in the digital marketing and communications sector in housing. So when you think of a housing sector, you don't really think of design straight away. You don't think, oh yeah, that's art. But there's a lot of kind of like a broad spectrum of things I do on a daily basis. But I'll start with how I ended up here, because I'm kind of lucky with how I ended up in my role. So I didn't know about apprenticeships at first either. When I left sixth form, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I did a foundation diploma to kind of see where I was going to go and see if I liked doing art, because I went in as a oil painter, came out wanted to do more digital kind of aspects of stuff, and then that confused me even more. I didn't know where I wanted to go after that. So a good friend of mine recommended the Learning Foundry, so I kind of did some research about it and decided, I might as well join, get some more experience and stuff. And they said they could help me find a job afterwards as well, which was a bonus. So after I did that, it wasn't anything to do with art, but after I did that, they offered me a placement at Regenda, so that I was doing graphic design there. I really enjoyed it and wanted to stay on. So my tutor and my line manager now really tried to push for that apprenticeship, and now I'm here. But no, you wouldn't expect digital kind of content to be such a big part of the housing sector, but it's such an integral part of the team. And I have 2 other designers I work with, and they're absolutely brilliant, and they're constantly helping me learn. And so I do 1 day a week studying actually the actual kind of apprenticeship, more uni kind of vibes side of it, and then the rest I'm in like actual work environment, learning on the job. And I think with apprenticeship you can learn so much more of like how the world works within a work environment, because I think with uni it's obviously good and you can learn so much from it, but it doesn't teach you some skills that you will learn in an apprenticeship. It won't teach you some kind of little things that you wouldn't really pick up on, basically, yeah. But no, I love my role. Very new, but right in the team now. One of the gals.
Yeah, you definitely are, and we keep throwing you in at the deep end with things like this, but it's
Yeah.
all about building you up and exposing you and giving you these brilliant opportunities. So thank you for that, Susie, and that was great. So if we move across to Jamie Lee now, if that's okay. So Jamie Lee has got quite a story to tell everybody, I think, if she's here. If we could have Jamie next. Is she here?
Hi.
Hiya.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I started with the Learner Foundation last year. I youth work course. I didn't really know what I was doing.
Jamie, I think we're struggling to hear you there. Have you got earphones by any chance, just so we can hear you properly?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to Tracy. No, we can't hear you. It's really like just got a lot of noise going on in the background. Can you maybe move to somewhere quiet, and we'll go to Tracy Lynn? Is that okay? And then give you a minute to set up again. Is that all right? Thank you. Tracy, are you around?
What I'll do, Danielle, just before Tracy comes on, once she puts the camera on mute, just to give a little bit of introduction to Tracy. So she is actually now in a permanent role. She qualified with her level 2 CIH qualification. So she was one of our housing apprentices for our Pine Court Housing Association, which is our social housing company that support the Chinese community, and they are based in Chinatown in the Liverpool city centre on Nelson Street. Just a little bit about Tracy. So when she first joined, it was a 2-year apprenticeship. In her first year, she won the Best Newcomer Apprentice within our Sovini Group Apprentice Awards. And in 2020, she actually won the Apprentice of the Year, which is absolutely fantastic. And she was also nominated by the training provider who she did her apprenticeship through, and came runner-up as well, and that was nationwide. So she's had an excellent journey, Tracy. But before, are you ready to go, Tracy? Do you want to put your camera and go off mute and tell us a little bit about yourself? I'll stop talking.
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy, and I am now is a bilingual housing assistant for Pine Court. And I joined as I was an apprentice for 2 years and doing my level 2 courses in housings. And then as Christina mentioned, I'm the bilingual housing assistant, and all my journey through that is long, but I can't do it without my teams. And then I was really lucky to make a right decision to join the apprentice. I got a similar background as Lauren before. I have my degree. I studied my master's in Birmingham, was in travel and tourism. And I actually started my apprentice in my late 20s. But it's never too late for you to start something new. Because the reasons why I changed my career is soon as I finished my master in marketing, basically on the tourism and hospitality in Birmingham, and I moved back home to my family to Liverpool. But at the time, tourism and hospitality industry wasn't in a very good perspective. So I was just doing a cashier as a part-time and also job hunting. And my friends who did mention about apprenticeship, which I have no knowledge what was it about, but I see the opportunity there, and then it actually gave me a second chance in life to have a really different career, but I never planned, but I love it and enjoy it, and I'm so glad I chose it. And as one of the reasons why I'm choosing in housing, I can say it may be an accident, or maybe it's just it meant to be happened. Because as a Pine Court is a bilingual, they have a bilingual staff who can help, because half of our customers is Chinese, but we also MBE, like housing association. So we help with the locals, MBE, and we work close with them as well. For joining as a housing apprentice, because one of the reasons is I see opportunity, I can do something to help the people who just like me as an immigrant when I was moving to the country. And we got loads of like immigrants, like move to the country, you may struggle to find a home and start a life. I still remember when I moved to the UK with my family back to about like 10 years ago. And we was like just stay in our relative and sharing accommodation and for years until we actually like saving up to have a mortgage a house. And but at the time it was a struggle. So but now I'm in the role as a bilingual housing assistant, which we help people to find a home and in which they can start their life and then just stably, just as what we say, housing, like it changed people's life. They give them a different opportunity. And during my apprentice, like it's a 2 years course, and then you may feel like as apprentice, you may need study and work at the same time. It could be hard, but you wasn't on your own. You got fully support because I got my tutor. You always got your one-to-one sections. They help for your coursework. I got my land manager who helps me if I got difficulty. We got one-to-one meeting weekly, and I got like a study leave. So you got like a few hours, you can do your coursework, and then all my teams in Pine Court and of course the group in Sovini, they all helping be part of my coursework, my final case study as well. And they all really kind to me to share their knowledge and also help me to learning. And maybe I should mention that I actually coming from a zero background as a housing when I actually start my apprentice. So I got all my knowledge from the 2 years courses, and I actually graduate like complete this 2 years courses with distinctions. And as like Christina mentioned, I was like apprentice of the year, which is actually like a big achievement in my life. And then it just motivates me to just work harder, and then make me more believe I make a good decision. And then this is the career I want to like carry on. And since like I graduate, and then I never thought this would be happen. But after I joined apprentice, this is what happened now, what I am now. And I'm now about like a year as a bilingual housing assistant as a permanent job. And then I'm still like learning and development, and I'm actually looking for maybe start my level 3 next year. And then I want to set my goal to maybe to be like a housing officer in the future. That's like who I am, but like it just help you, like especially for like my niece, they actually in the age, they probably not sure what they want. I always said to them, maybe you should looking for something like apprenticeship, because it help you to like see better yourself, and also maybe help you to clear a better goal for your life. It's good you're learning, and then you also get your experience. Is a good, I think like it would be good for anyone if you're not sure what you want to do, and then there was an opportunity for you to find what you truly want in your futures.
Thank you, Tracy. So inspirational. I've heard your story loads, but I still always love it. So thank you very much for sharing that. Danielle, are we going back over to Jamie Lee, or
yeah, I think so. We'll have another try. Jamie Lee, is it a little bit better now? There we go. I think it's maybe still the signal, but yeah.
It might be worth, Jamie Lee, do you want to just take your camera off and just see if it comes through any better? If you just put your camera off and then just speak to us.
Is it working now?
Yeah, that sounds much better.
Yeah, the signal's awful here today. Hi,
yeah, we can't promise good Wi-Fi, but we can definitely promise good career opportunities. So yeah. Jamie Lee, you there? Nope. Right, okay. I'll just summarise then, just having spoken to our apprentices there. So obviously you've heard lots of different inspirational stories and lots of different, again, progression, different backgrounds. Just picking up on what Christina was saying then about the awards. We also celebrate our apprentices, and at the end of this week we're holding a graduation ceremony to celebrate anybody that's progressed and achieved their apprenticeship over the last 2 years, because we recognise that we have been through a difficult time, but we've still managed to bring 42 apprentices into the group, many of whom have achieved over that time despite what they've faced, and they've really kind of enjoyed that journey. So we just want to celebrate that at the end of this week. So we're having a graduation ceremony to celebrate that. And we also have our own awards as well. Lauren actually won one of the awards 2 years ago. I think she won the Apprenticeship of the Year award. I could be wrong, but I'm hoping that's the right one. But yeah, we also celebrate because we recognise that you're doing two things there. So you're on the job, so you're doing the job, you're also learning at the same time, and we just want to celebrate that. So just to summarise really, I hope that it's been useful for you to speak to our apprentices, and I guess we'll just open up now to see if anybody's got any questions for either Christina and I or any of our apprentices, if that's okay.
Thanks, Danielle. Thanks, Christina. Can the apprentices put the cameras back on, and then we can maybe pick up a few questions that we've got, if that's all right with everybody? And thank you for this morning. It's been really, really interesting. I just wanted to pick up, first of all, maybe coming back to Lauren, that you talked around having a supportive team around you while you're doing your apprenticeship. So how important was that when you first started to work with Regenda?
Very, very important. I think for me, I'd never really been in a sort of office working environment before, so it was a little bit daunting, but I had a really, really great team around me. My manager was really supportive, and I worked quite closely with Danielle as well, to work on like loads of learning development opportunities. I'd help organise events, but also they just helped me to kind of boost my confidence and kind of reaffirm that everything I was doing was right. And if I had any questions, there was no sort of stupid question. It was like, no, we're happy to help you learn. So yeah, having a supportive team really does make a difference in building your confidence and your career progression along the way.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe different to you being at university, because you're in that working environment.
Yeah,
so slightly
definitely.
different really to your experience before then. So thank you for that. And then I just wanted to come to Susie, and you mentioned, and I think this is something that we always talk to our students about, is that the role that you're doing now, you never thought about working in a housing sector to link to sort of digital content. So have you sort of got any advice to students then that are on today about thinking about, you know, what skills they enjoy doing and how they can actually look at different areas or different places to work?
I think with any skill that you like, there's always a job role for it, no matter how odd it is. Because I never thought I would be here at all, especially with the housing sector. I thought I would be like, I don't know, painting in some fancy little art room or something like that. But no, I would just say, just do lots of research. I think that's probably the best thing, because there's always somewhere out there for you that will just take you on and like be so happy with you there. And like, I think with every skill that you have, like with art, it means you can bring such a different approach that might be needed or might not have been thought of, especially like just your age as well makes such a big impact. Like in my role, especially because I work a lot on social media and stuff, I bring around like a very different kind of viewpoint to what some of my colleagues might bring, and we come together and then that comes. So it's just about being different is good, being something like being in the housing sector but not thinking you were going to be, and then like coming into it with like a really different mindset can sometimes be a good thing, because you're just bringing a new kind of aspect and a new kind of freshness, if you like, to what would otherwise be very corporate or very like such and such a way. Like it brings like a new kind of aspect. So I would just say, just be different and just be like push boundaries as much as you can, I think. Rebel a bit.
Thank you for that. And Tracy, and in terms of obviously when you were doing your apprenticeship, how did you find mixing with other apprentices when you were obviously doing your study, and maybe actual other apprentices that were actually working within Sovini as well at the time? So how do you sort of, is there a lot of connection between all the other apprentices that are obviously in other roles within the organisation?
As Christina said, we are 9 company of it. So we got OVH and Pine Core. So we got the housing apprentice, but we also got like plumber apprentice, and who like others doing electricians, like the operator, and then the team of the learning and development, like they are look after all the apprentice. So we got activity for apprentice. So like as next week we got, I think this week actually apprentice of the week, and then we got the apprentice of the war as well. So everyone get together. So we do have a concourse in the company to like getting the meeting. I remember at the very beginning we do have a little host for the apprentice get together, and then we also got we attend with our line manager. So it's kind of a little event. So everyone sit down and then you say like a little bit about yourself, who won the war. So like we got apprentice of the year. But before that, we got newcomer, and the best newcomer we got, or maybe like who got like, I forgot which one, like who more motivate themselves without any guidance. So all different time of award for that. And then also doing my level 2 courses with my tutor, we come across with other apprentices in the other housing associations. So I went to Chester and meet the other housing apprentice, but from the different organization as well. So we share our experience. And I think one of the girls, she mainly doing finance, but I'm doing the housings. So some of the coursework we can share, like maybe like as a customer service, maybe in my side, we got like receptions. So I learning the knowledge and doing reception, and also doing some back on the desktop, but still facing customers or telephone calls. So we all share this experience and knowledge that's help us grow like all development together. So I actually really enjoy it. And then, you know, loads of people, and like you got your colleagues, you met them, and then it's a great team.
So you sort of a little community of, you just sort of a little community, Christina, in terms of the apprentices being able to share their experiences within the organisation and also wider.
Yeah, so that's what I was just going to add for Tracy, because obviously we've got close to 60 apprentices now, including existing staff. So what we try and do is, obviously, if you go down different apprenticeship routes where you'll go into college one day a week, you will be with a group of people as well. Tracy did something slightly separate. She was our only housing apprentice. But what we do internally, and what you probably find with the Regenda Group as well, is we have a group apprenticeship programme where we will create networking opportunities for all apprentices to get together as well. So there's always opportunity, you know, whether you're studying alone, but you'll always be interacting with the other apprentices across the group as well. I know that's the same for the Regenda Group.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the important part as well. I think that, you know, for a lot of students that will be listening to this morning, that you know, it's a big step, isn't it? Either, you know, coming out from school, from college, even from university, and going into your first work placement, and especially if you're on the apprenticeship. So it's nice to think that you're going to have other similar people with you as well, that are sort of you sharing that journey with, and that you can lean on and get that support from as well. So that's really good to know. I just wanted to ask really the apprentices.
I think, Jill.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to say from our point of view, we have an apprenticeship forum, which is a chance for all the apprentices to come together to meet regularly and talk about kind of what they need from a learning point of view, what they need from us in terms of support, how we can help make their journey with us even better, and what they would like to see, any changes, because obviously we recognise everything you've just said, quite young when people come to us. But I think, without trying to sound cliche, I do think that housing is a really nurturing environment for somebody to make that step. So Regenda Group is 20 years old. Before that, we were different housing associations that merged. So one of our first apprentices, Matthew Rothwell, joined us 24 years ago. So we've been supporting apprentices for that long, and he'll hate me for saying this, but he's now our director of health and safety. So he's gone from entering with us at sort of 16 and staying with us right through to now, and he's continued his studies. He's now one of the top directors in the group, and he stayed with us because we are that kind of nurturing environment. And I speak for Sovini when I say that, because that's what housing does bring. We work with families day in, day out. We're a supportive environment, and we definitely reflect that with how we treat our staff as well. And that's really important to think about when you do consider an apprenticeship. You want to get that family feel and know that you're going to be supported along the way.
Yeah, and I think it's for a lot of our students as well that will, you know, could be living in your homes across both Sovini and Regenda, and that feel of community and the level of support that they're given. So it's not just about you being there, you know, providing the home, but obviously you've got the construction side when you're building new houses, you've got the finance side, you're there to support them as well. So there's lots and lots of different opportunities, isn't there? And for our students that are actually already in a way already connected to you, maybe by the home that they're living in as well, I just think it's a great way for us to sort of showcase, and a lot of students won't have thought about that this morning. So hopefully we've sort of widened their perspective on the housing sector this morning. I suppose just one final question to the apprentices, I suppose, is around maybe the skills and knowledge that you maybe learnt in school, and how has anything that from your school life helped you really during your apprenticeship? I don't know whether there's any skills or anything that, you know, one piece of advice maybe that you'd give our students this morning. Lauren? Tracy?
Yeah. Oh, Tracy, go on, Tracy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think when you're learning in school, they got activities. So I went to like degree and master's. So basically from the school at the time, they you know, a teacher and tell you presentation skills that actually build up the confidence. And then when you could join the apprenticeship, you got your study pack, and then there's still keep growing those knowledge and experiment from school. So you're actually still in an environment you feel comfortable learning, but at the time you got your group who be with you in a working environment, but they still treat you as a newcomer to the company, and then they provide you the same. So I actually think when you got to school, you knowing what you're good at, and then you're knowing something you may can improve. And then when you join in apprentice, you got your tutor there, they give you guidance, you got your line manager there. So they all just extending improving. So you just get in a bigger circles, but whatever you learn from the school, you will continue growing, and then they just still they see the sign of you, and then they know you, and then they will be just whatever you learn, you got the chance to show them.
Yeah. So you've basically got a really support network around you. So coming out of school and then straight into your apprenticeship, and the skills that you've learned you bring with you, and you can sort of still learn and improve on really what you've already learnt. But that's the nice support that you have around being on an apprenticeship, isn't it, with the additional support from colleagues, from your direct line managers as well. So that's really good. Thank you. Lauren, just anything to add on that from your perspective?
Yeah, I think there's probably quite a lot of skills that you learn in school that you don't necessarily think will be relevant in your job role, but I think at school, because you have so much exposure to different types of people, you're always doing group work, that sort of stuff. It actually teaches a lot of teamwork and skills, which you definitely need when you're going into any type of role, especially in housing, just because you do work. Depends on what team you work in, you work with a wider variety of people. And then I would say communication skills as well. I think that's something you learn in school, which is definitely something you take on and develop as you get older. So I think my big piece of advice I always say to everyone is, don't worry about, if you don't know what you want to do, kind of just be open. But as long as you're hard working and put your mind to everything that you do, you will progress, especially in a career in housing. I feel like that is something I've definitely learned, is that as long as you've got the commitment, you will progress, because it's a really supportive environment. So that's just a little bit of a piece of advice that I'd give to everybody on the call today.
Thank you, Lauren. Really, really good advice. So just to finish off, Danielle, Christina, is there anything else that you just want to finish and then we'll close the session?
I've just actually posted in the group, Jill, just based on kind of the skills with schools. So just from a recruitment point of view, when we're recruiting new apprentices, we fully know that you won't have the experience, so we don't do any tasks on our assessment days that focus on experience. I've just posted in there, our tasks that we will do will kind of look at how, well you manage your time, how well do you work within a team, problem solve. But the biggest bit of advice I could give you when you are, being interviewed or assessed for the apprenticeship is be yourself, be enthusiastic, be passionate, let the employer know that you want to be there. And that's what we focus on is, the person who wants it and who's got that positive attitude. So best of luck. I just want to say to everyone who's on the call today. But yeah, that's from me.
Thank you. Danielle?
Yeah, just to echo that really, and to say that at Regenda, we never, regardless of the level that you're coming in for, we never tend to focus on what you bring to the table in regards to your qualifications or your academic background. What we focus on is right fit. And what that means is if you've got the right values to come and work at an organisation like the Regenda Group, if you care about people, if you want to do a good job, if you're passionate, like Christina said, and you're committed and you want to improve yourself and reach your potential, then that's why you'll get a career and a job at Regenda. And that's what we look for. We look for the person before we look for what they bring in regards to what they've done at school. We're more interested in you and who you are and if you'll fit into our group. And I'm hoping that the people on this call have seen something today that think, I would love to work there because that's me and I want to help people and I want to make a difference to people's lives. So good luck with whatever you decide to do, and I'd love to see you in housing in the future.
Thank you. And on behalf of the Careers Club, I just want to thank you all for coming on this morning, sharing your insights, your journeys, the passion that's come out around the housing sector as well. So hopefully we've got students now thinking, actually, I need to go and do some research and look up the housing. Obviously, we've put some pre-work for this session as well. So please, students, use the links we'll be provided. And if there's anything else that you need, obviously email through to the Careers Hub and we'll pick that up directly with Danielle and Christina as well. So thank you all this morning for coming and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.